Hey, good morning, YouTube. It is Monday, April 10th, 2017. And it's been a while since I've uploaded a video, and thought I'd go ahead and do so, make a memory type video today. I'm going to let you know that, years ago, whenever I was a kid, we used to have two amusement parks that was located here between Middletown and Hamilton, Ohio. And as a kid, I always enjoyed going to them. And I spent a lot of time at Americana Amusement Park, also known as LeSourdesville Lake Amusement Park. And really missed that, because we're talking 40 years ago, it's been a long time, but really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun there. And even the amusement park next door, there was two of them right next door to each other. Edgar Streethall owned both of them at one time. He had LeSourdesville Lake first. Then he changed and sold LeSourdesville Lake, and he turned around and opened Fantasy Farm right next door. And the Fantasy Farm was a big apple orchard there that he had. It was apple trees and things like that. And he put a bunch of children's rides in, just mostly geared toward little children. But they had a couple big rides for the grown-ups. And then they had some caves, paddle boats, just little various rides like that. And really nice. It was really, really a beautiful park. And it's something that people really, miss in this area, because we got Kings Island, which is, I'd say about 20 minutes from, probably about 25 minutes from my house. So it's located over in Mason, Ohio, also known as Kings Mills, Ohio. And, but anyway, as a kid, we went to Fantasy Farm, spent a lot of time there too. Really enjoyed that as I was younger, but as I grew up, I went next door to the big park. We always call it the big park, because all the big teenagers and adults went to that park because, it had large rides. And they also had some small rides for children as well. They had Kitty Kingdom. And the children, they had the kiddie rides there as well, and then there's quite a few of them. It wasn't very few. They had at least probably maybe 24, probably about 20 to 24 kiddie rides, approximately. And plus, they had all kinds of picnic shelters, and they used to have catered chicken, and they had everything. It was such a really nice place, for families to go. You can take your own picnic with you. You take your own coolers in the park and all that. Like Kings Island, you're not allowed to take coolers in their park because they don't want you eating your food. They want you to eat their food, buy their expensive food, so they make money. So but Fantasy Farm, they had picnic area as well. But just memories of it, and it's sad that it's all gone, it's just, Americana's gone. Very few buildings are left on that property. All the rides have been dismantled except for one, and that's the Sky Ride. The Sky Ride still remains at Americana. The posts do. The poles are still there, and so is the housing unit where the motor and all that stuff is. So, that ride still remains, and they also still have the buckets, but they're put up underneath the shelter. But they ripped out everything there at Americana. They took out the train tracks, and their train that I drove many, many times. They had a couple trains there. They had one that was automatic, and the other one was a standard. And I've driven them both many, many, many times, and then also was a lead operator there. But they take the train tracks back to the western town, and it was called Tombstone Territory at one time, and then they changed it to Loggers Run, And Loggers Run, that's when they had built the log flume in 1984 called Raging Thunder. And I'm going to tell you right now, you talking about one hell of a log flume, man. It was one of the best. It was the best log flumes in the area. Better than Kings Island. I mean, it was better than theirs. I mean, yeah, but you will get soaked on this one. I mean, yeah, it told you will get wet on this ride. Ain't no shit about it. And it was a really nice, well-designed, well-developed ride, designed and built by Ron Burney and a few others, which he was the son of the owner of the park, his dad, Howard Burney, which he's deceased, he's deceased now and all that. But back in the 70s and 80s, the early 80s into the about mid-80s, the park was booming. I mean, Americana was the place to go. I mean, it was better than actually going to Kings Island. Kings Island was okay, but Americana was a little bit better because, you got some really good catered foods and all that stuff. I mean, it was the best damn chicken around. Excuse me. But, yeah, Memories of Americana was so great. I mean, it was really sad to see it close up. They did try, but, the people that bought the park, and some of the owners I know personally, and, it's a shame that they didn't take any money and invest into the park, like adding new attractions, new rides, shows. I mean, they should have spent a little bit of money putting new things in, and I think if they would have, they could have drawn, the people back into Americana possibly, because it was a family park and a great place for families to meet and greet and have a good old time. And but see, the biggest downfall was back in, I think it was 1987 maybe, somewhere in that area, or 88 or 89, somewhere in that area. They had hired a bunch of Mexicans to work at their park. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not racist, but they hired a bunch of Mexicans, and actually they screwed them over. I mean, they was working for nothing. They was having to live there on a property in a dormitory, and they had to pay rent and pay for laundry, pay for this and that. I mean, and by the time they was done, they didn't have no money, and it was sad. It really was. So really, they was mistreated, and that's what happened, with that. So yes, the park declined. It declined because the unions caught wind that they caught wind that they had a bunch of Mexicans working for them and yada yada yada, and the unions didn't like it. So all the unions that represented the big companies like AK Steel and Miami Valley Hospital and General Electric and Procter and Gamble, I mean, all those union-led companies, they pulled out of having company picnics anymore there at Americana. And that was a devastating blow to the park because that was big. That was big money for them. And these companies, they left Americana and they started having their picnics at Kings Island. So, yes, it was a very devastating blow, and that contributed to for the park to go defunct. And plus everything was aging in the park. The infrastructure was aging. It needed updated, and the rides were getting really old and needed to be replaced. I mean, it was just it was sad. And it seemed like that when they took a ride out, it was taken out and is to be recycled. It wasn't taken out to be sent to another park or anything like that. It was taken out because it's done. It was done. It met its end and its legacy, and they had to ditch it. They just had to toss it out. for scrap. But, you know, it was a beautiful park. Had a big old lake there. We had a showboat. I got married in a showboat when I first started driving that sucker. Oh my God, I hit the dock and it didn't hit it hard, but it hit enough to make everybody jar over. And whenever I said, "Oops, I'm a new driver," because of the steering wheel, you had to turn right to make it go left. And you had to turn the steering wheel left to make it go right. So it took some time getting used to that, because it's just really strange how those were designed. I've got a lot of stories of the park. I mean, if you want me to share some stories with you, you know, things that's happened in the park. There's never been any deaths that I'm aware of, and I've never been told of. So there's never been any deaths at that park. You know, versus Kings Island. You know, Kings Island's had a few deaths over there at their park, but it was nothing that was really contributing to so much to their error. But you know, it happened June. It was June 9th, 1991. 3 people had died in 2 separate accidents in the same day, and it's called Black Sunday. And the lady, the one lady, her name was Candy Taylor, and she was riding a Flight Commander ride, which is defunct as well. They no longer have it. And she slipped and fell out of her restraints as the ride went upside down. They said that she was drunk, but she fell to her death about 35 to 40 feet, and she died. And then, but earlier in the day, there's a guy that was kind of drunk, and he jumped into this fountain. The fountain where the garden is, where the Viking ship, right there. So the guy jumped in the pool, or the water. It wasn't a pool. It was actual, you know, like a little pond. I mean, it was a beautiful little pond, and it had an aerator in it. Well, the aerator was just was having problems, and the guy he didn't know it. He was drunk. He jumped in there, and it was he's been electrocuted. So while these other bystanders, well, I think it was 2 park employees, what it was. There's one that jumped in to try to save him, which they did. They saved the guy, the drunk guy that jumped in first. They saved him, but another park worker jumped in the pond. So 2 of them was in the pond, getting that guy out, and those 2 died. So there was 2 park employees that died that day, along with, and those guys were electrocuted. And then along with Candy Taylor that fell out of the Flight Commander ride. So really a sad situation. And then another time on the Eiffel Tower, grad night, I can't remember what year it was, a guy fell down, and he climbed the Eiffel Tower. He didn't climb it. He was up at the top, and he went in through a door into an unauthorized area, which was in the elevator shaft, one of them, because they got 2, and he fell all the way down to his death. So that was one. And then another time, a guy was at the little bandstand at the International Fountain, and he had jumped into their big fountain that they have, the big royal fountain, right there by the main entrance, which goes between the main entrance and the Eiffel Tower. Well, he jumped off that band stage, which is up pretty high, and he jumped down, or he went head first, I guess, down into the that pool of water where the fountains were, and it was only 3 feet deep. So he fell down in there, and he died from his injuries as well. So those are only deaths I know of at Kings Island. Some's going around saying, well, there was a death on the the Bat roller coaster way back in the day, the original Bat, not the one they got now, but the one back in the day, and that's not true. There's never been no deaths on the Bat. So, but anyway, if you want more of these rides, or I'm going to talk a little bit more about it in detail, please let me know. I'm going to cut this off in 15 minutes, and it's coming up right now. All right? Like, subscribe, appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Have a good day.